What is up, you guys? Thank you so much for tuning back into my channel. If you are enjoying the food freedom, body image healing, ditching the diet culture, and just rebuilding your self-empowerment, self-love type content and type knowledge-based information, please hit the subscribe button. It really helps me out. It really helps me to continue creating content like this for you guys. Today I wanted to talk about disordered eating patterns. When I was in the deepest depths of my disordered eating, I was doing bodybuilding competitions, I was preparing for photo shoots. Basically my whole life revolved around food and what my body looked like, and it was incredibly consuming, super unhealthy, and very, very toxic. But the problem was that I didn't know what patterns I was engaging in that were disordered. I had no idea that so many of the things that I was doing were disordered. So I wanted to share 5 things that are considered disordered eating that you may not even be aware of, and hopefully this helps you kind of distinguish and recognize those patterns so you can be more aware of them and break out of those cycles. Number 1 is mentally counting calories or thinking about every single thing you've eaten within the day. This is something that I used to do every single day. I would mentally add up every single number, every single calorie, every single gram of carb, for example, and it was all I thought about. Like, I would think about, what did I have for breakfast, and was that too much, and should I adjust my lunch because of it, and what are the numbers adding up here? Like, it was all consuming. So if you feel like you're doing that, I find this often comes from when we have a past of counting macros or we're counting calories. It's kind of almost become routine to now focus on the numbers of food instead of just focusing on the nourishment itself. So if you're finding it hard to do this, if you're finding it hard to take the numbers away from the food that you're eating, what I recommend you doing is focusing more on the nourishment that you're getting from the food. Like, what kind of nutrients am I getting from this food? What kind of enjoyment am I getting? How nourishing is this food for me? Number 2 is restricting or cutting out entire food groups. This is pretty mainstream at this point, unfortunately. A lot of people are hardcore keto dieters. We're cutting out all carbs, we're cutting out all sugar. You don't want to be cutting out entire food groups. Protein, carbs, and fats are so necessary, and when we cut out entire food groups, this just creates more fixation around that food. Typically we end up binging on that food. All we can think about is that food that we've cut out. I see this often when we restrict Monday to Friday. Typically on the weekends, that's where we kind of overindulge. That's also really harmful for our health, our hormones, our metabolism, just everything internal. Like, we need all food groups, and if we're cutting those out, our body just cannot function. Number 3, feeling like you need to make up for your food. It look like you feeling like you need to go exercise right away, thinking you need to train even harder tomorrow because you enjoyed something today, or just in general, like somehow shifting around your food or your exercise to make up for something that you just ate. And this is a very black and white, all or nothing type mindset, because this isn't helping us create a lifestyle. If we constantly feel like we need to course correct our lifestyle, what we're eating, what we're doing, it's gonna always feel like we're in this constant battle of punishment and shame. You never need to make up for anything. If you have something, enjoy it, be present with it, and just simply move on. Get back to what makes you feel good and move forward from there. Number 4 is something that I see all the time. When we are labeling foods as good or bad, something that I hear often is clean foods or dirty foods or cheat meals. It's making us feel like if we eat a certain food, it's going to cause a negative consequence. Typically, when people are using these lingos, we often associate it with weight gain or weight loss. And once again, we're positioning size of our body, what our body looks like, as the be all end all of, our health journey or our nourishment journey. And this is just not the case. Not only does it make us really fixated on what our body looks like, the way that we can instead look at these things is, what's a food that's really nourishing for me? What's a more nutrient dense food? And then on the other side of the spectrum, okay, this food is less nutrient dense, but it makes me happy and I enjoy it. All foods are very nourishing, they just have different components to them. Same thing with calorie counting, getting away from the numbers, getting away from that black and white thinking with your food. Number 5, this is something that I deal with. Pretty much all of my clients come to me with this question, and I get this a lot on my Instagram and my TikToks. Feeling like you need to save up your calories or restrict in some way if you're going out, if there's a dinner, if there's an event, or if there's, a vacation plan. This is again really that black or white, one extreme to the next type thinking. It's what keeps us stuck in that binge restrict cycle, or just the yo-yo dieting cycle in general. Because if you are going to an extreme you're restricting really, really hard, even if it's just for one day, like you're restricting all day, you're not eating carbs all day, you skipped your breakfast. When you get to this dinner or this event, you are going to be ravenous. You are not going to be focused on the people there. You're not going to be making memories. You're not going to be enjoying yourself. You are going to only be thinking about the food. Everything about that night will be about the food. You will probably overindulge because you are so hungry. And then you are probably going to follow that up with shame and guilt and restart the cycle again. And it's just keeping you in that restrict, overindulge, fixation type cycle. It's a never ending rabbit hole. And why am I sharing all this? Why am I talking about these things? It's because I've been there. I've struggled with all 5 things, you guys, if not more. I know what it's like to be in those mindsets, and I know how consuming and overwhelming and just like your whole world is revolving around food in your body. You deserve so much more than that. I can't tell you how good food freedom feels, healing your body image, and just literally taking back the power of your life. If any of that resonates for you, if you see yourself in any of those situations, please comment below. Let me know what you struggle with, and let's just talk about it, because the first step is becoming aware of these patterns, okay, you guys? Because it's not going to be an overnight quick fix where just all of a sudden, oh, you're out of that habit or that routine. But when you're aware of it, you can then begin to simply reflect on certain instances in your day when maybe you're like, oh, this isn't really serving me, or hey, this is like that cycle that keeps me trapped in that yo-yoing. Just know that food freedom and body image healing is so possible. This does not have to be your life anymore. So reach out to me. I have a link in my bio if you're curious about what I do with my clients and how I help them free themselves from this and ultimately live your best life.